Hi my loves, welcome to your cosmic weather report for the week ahead. Now, this week holds a lot of healing in order for us to be able to find a lot more freedom. So we're going to start the week off. We've got a really big day at the start of this week on Monday. We've got a lot of Chiron energy. So we've got the Sun sextile Chiron and Venus square Chiron. So first of all, as the Sun meets Chiron, this takes us into a healing of our deep inner wounds to help us to awaken to more of our inner potential. So to help us to find real purpose in our pain. So the best way I can describe this to you is, you know that like a lot of artists will use what they've been through and it'll come out in their art or in the songs that they write, and they'll use those deeply painful experiences that they've been through, but out of that will come something so beautiful. This is a similar opportunity we're going to get at the beginning of the week to really find the purpose in our pain, to really take note of what we've been through in our lives and how we can then use that to bring something good into the world, to allow ourselves to shine as more of us, having been through what we've been through and overcome what we've overcome. So a really big healing can take place on Monday at the start of the week around allowing what you've been through to make you into more of you. Now, this is also going to be apparent as Venus squares Chiron. What you're going to find as Venus squares Chiron is a very deep knowing of where you're settling for less than what you know you're worth. So where people are treating you in a way that is less than what you're worth, where you're putting up with a job or a situation or anything in your life where you're accepting less than you deserve, where you're minimizing your worth, where you're not really showing up in the fullest presence of you. And you're also going to really be able to see where you're not living in alignment with your values, which again can cause a lot of inner pain and a lot of inner wounding when we're constantly living out of alignment with our deepest values and therefore with our deepest self. That in itself can cause a lot of inner conflict and pain and unhappiness and unease. And so you're really going to be able to see where your worth isn't being valued and where you're not living in alignment with your deepest values. It's also going to bring around some pain or wounding perhaps in relationships. Relationships are also going to come under the spotlight a little bit this week. You might be able to see a bit more about your relationship with yourself, how you don't show up for yourself enough, you don't support yourself enough, the way that you talk to yourself perhaps sometimes. So pay attention to all of those things. Now on Monday we also have Mercury moving into Aquarius and meeting Pluto. Now this helps us in a way because Mercury in Aquarius is all about being open-minded, and it's about breaking the rules. It helps us to become a bit more rebellious and a bit more saying what's on our mind and on our hearts, and not perhaps adhering to holding down our words and being like, oh gosh, I better not say that because of what might happen. Mercury in Aquarius is a bit like, just say it and see what happens. So you might find a real ability to be able to speak up for yourself a lot more in those places in your life where you know you're settling for less and people aren't adhering to your worth. You might be able to speak up for yourself a bit more, or be able to say, no, this isn't right, or this isn't okay, or I'm not going to put up with this anymore. There's going to be much more of a rebellion with your words, where you're going to worry a bit less about how your words may be taken. And that's not to say that we want to wound with our words, but what we've also got to remember is, as long as the truth is coming from your heart, how the other person receives it is not your problem. All you can ever do is speak your authentic truth from your heart, and how it's received is up to the other person. So this could be a time where you can just break the rules a little bit more in your speech. It might be new ideas come in around, okay, I know this job's been stifling me for so long, but I've just got this brilliant idea of what I can do, or where I can go, or what I can apply for, or how I can make things different, or how I can change something. So there's going to be lots of information, ideas, new bits of inspiration come in alongside this deep inner healing that's going to help us to bring more of this healing through, so that then we can start to become more of ourselves, because that's what the rest of the week is pretty much about. On Wednesday we get Venus trine Uranus. Now Uranus is that planet of liberation, freedom, awakening. Venus is relationships, relationship with self and others, also your values, your worth, your self-care. So as Venus trines Uranus, especially after what you've learned at the start of the week around where you're settling for less and where you're not being treated in a way that you deserve to be, there's going to be this big need to break for freedom, to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I am not putting up with this anymore. I'm going to start to stand in the truth of who I am. I'm going to start to speak up for myself more. I'm going to really start to own myself a little bit more. There's going to be a real freedom that wants to come through. Now, we might also find with Venus trine Uranus that there can sometimes be like shocks or surprises in relationships. So that might be a brand new relationship suddenly comes out of nowhere that you weren't expecting. It might be certain things happen in existing relationships. Again, maybe around those places where you have been settling for less than what you deserve, or you've not been living in alignment with your values. So we can sometimes find things come up around relationships that might be a little bit surprising, where we're like, oh God, didn't expect that to happen. So spend a little bit of time around the middle of the week just really checking in, once again, relationship with myself. Am I free to be all of me? Do I allow myself to be all of me? Or am I constantly self-censoring, or watching what I say, or watching how I act, or watching what I do? Because that's exhausting. How can I let myself just begin to be more of me and set a little bit more of me free? What's my relationship like with myself? And then from that, what are my relationships like with everybody else around me? Am I settling for less anywhere, or am I really holding true to my values and worth and knowing what it is that I deserve? And then Thursday, we're going to get the sun then square Uranus. Now, as the sun then squares Uranus, the sun being your sense of self, how you're here to shine, your soul purpose, there's going to be this energy of wanting to do things your own way, wanting to begin to really show up and shine a bit more, wanting to free yourself from any of those shackles of, oh, you better not behave like that, or they might not like you, you better not say that, or this might happen. There's just going to be this real desire to want to shine a little bit more, to again not let those little fears that hold you back from, oh, could you do that, or could you achieve that, or could you make that happen? And there's going to be this big sense of like, I just want to start to let myself be seen. I want to start to believe in myself. I want to start to really go after what it is that I want. And this is going to be really beautifully backed up on this day by Mars in a sextile with Neptune. So as Mars and Neptune meet, there's going to be this desire to go after your soul goals. So this isn't going to be like the little things that we all think that we should wish for, or we all think that we should go for, or we all, like the world tells you you should want to go to school and then to college and then to uni and then to do this, all the things that we're told like we should want or we should do. And this is going to be soul goals. This is going to be those burning desires in you that have maybe been there for years, that you've doubted, oh, I'm too old, or I couldn't make it come true, or I couldn't make it happen, or whatever it might be. There's going to be a real desire to act on those soul goals, and your intuition is going to be on point. So around Thursday, there's just going to be this sense of knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing what those deep desires are, knowing what you're worthy and deserving of, knowing that you can get it, and really wanting to almost go out there into the world and be like, here I am, world, here I am. And this is backed up beautifully because then on Friday we get the Aquarius new moon. Now, this is just such a beautiful new moon in this week of energies. As you may all be aware, I'm sorry, my phone just told me it was low power mode then. I was like, oh, what's going on? So I hope we're all still all right and we're still here. What we might find as we get this Aquarius moon is, or what we will find, is a sense of inner freedom and liberation. So as you know, we've got a lot of Aquarian energies at the moment. Pluto's just made that big shift into Aquarius. We've got a stellium in Aquarius, so a lot of Aquarian energy at this new moon. And as you can maybe hear with everything I've told you in the week running up to it, it's a lot about freedom, about freeing yourself, about healing anything that prevents you from being all of you so that you can be free to be all of you. And that's what this Aquarius new moon is going to do. This Aquarius new moon is just going to be like, we all need you to be free to be you, because part of what you have to offer to the world is you. And so the whole time you're trying to pretend to be someone else, or doing what you think is expected of you, or not living in alignment with your soul goals and your values, you're really robbing the world of you in a way. So this Aquarius new moon is going to come along to help us to really set our intentions for the age of Aquarius. So we've got all this big Aquarius energy, Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. And this first new moon now in Aquarius says, what's your part to play? What are you going to do? What are you going to bring to life? How are you going to show up as radically, authentically, honestly you and give to the world what only you can offer? So this new moon is just a beautiful time to set those intentions around. And the big question I want to ask you is, if for a moment you could block out the rest of the world and you could just really feel into, if I was free to be all of me and have what it was that I deeply desired from my soul, what would my intentions be? So if there were no outside influences, if there were no if, buts and maybes, if you were truly free to be all of you and to have what your soul truly desired, what would your intentions be? And this is where we set those intentions. Because then on Saturday, this week just keeps backing itself up. Saturday, Mercury squares Jupiter. And so as Mercury meets Jupiter, there's going to be this sense of optimism, this sense of being able to see the future, this sense of hope, a very deep sense of being able to make everything happen. It's almost like you suddenly see the bigger picture of your life and you're like, oh, that's what it is. That's what this is all for. That's what I'm going for. And there is just going to be such a hope and an optimism of everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's working out as it should. Like it's going to be all right. There's going to be a deep sense of this and being able to see the best in everybody and everything around you. So rather than seeing everything that's wrong, you're going to be able to see everything that's right in your life, everything that's right in the world, everything that's right in yourself. It's going to be a beautiful day for just filling yourself with that optimistic hope for yourself, for humanity, for life, for the future. And this is going to help you to really propel into your Aquarius new moon intentions and be able to see the bigger picture of them all. So we've got a really, really magical week coming up in many ways. As I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of healing that then leads into a lot of freedom. So the start of the week is more around the healing, what gets in the way, where am I settling for less, where am I not believing in myself, trusting myself, not knowing what it is that I truly deserve, or where am I accepting less than what I truly deserve. And then we move into this big sense of freedom and awakening of, do you know what, that's not working for me anymore. That's not in alignment with me anymore. I'm not putting up with that anymore. I'm no longer going to accept this. And then from that, being able to really set intentions around showing up as all of you, as your most untamed, wild and free self, because that's what we really, really want, is you as your most untamed, wild and free, to help lead us into this new age of Aquarius era. So I really hope that's helped us always, my loves. I thank you so much for all your support on these videos. It really does mean the world. And I hope this one helps you navigate this week ahead in a beautiful way. If you do want to know more about the lunar work, you can join the Lunar Living Sisterhood, where you get a private moon circle with me twice a month, and then written and audio. It's about 9 pages long of these moon musings and meditations and journal prompts. And there's also a little new moon ritual pack you can get if you want to just dip your toes in first and see what it's all about. They'll be in my bio or on my website. And in the meantime, I send you so much love for this week. Go free yourself. Be the most untamed, wild and free you.